Orbit of Tarsus 3, Imperial Expansion Zone 92B. New contact. Unregistered. Mass exceeds classification parameters. The bridge of the Imperial Dreadnought Virex fell into an uneasy silence. High Marshal Draven Threx tapped one clawed finger against the edge of his command chair, his eyes narrowing on the central holodisplay. It pulsed with shifting vectors, unreadable masses, and low-signal anomalies. "What do you mean, unregistered?" he snapped. "We're in the expansion zone. Nothing slips past our detection grid, not without a transponder." The comms officer, a slender, four-eyed Lorowan, fidgeted beneath his uniform collar. "Apologies, High Marshal. The object wasn't there a moment ago. It appeared between scans. No FTL signature. No energy spike. No warp trail. It's just here." "Size?" Draven demanded. The tech hesitated. "Roughly 3 times the volume of our dreadnought, sir. But it's fuzzy. There's spatial distortion around it. Our scanners keep slipping off." "Visual," Draven ordered. The display shimmered. Then, gasps echoed. A shape emerged from the darkness beyond Tarsus 3's gravity well. No gleaming hull, no obvious armament, no standard Imperial design. It didn't belong. Black. Monolithic. Angled like it had been built to hurt the eye. Its surfaces folded and refracted like a living shadow. No lights. No visible engines. It floated as if inertia obeyed it, not the other way around. And emblazoned, barely visible on its underside, was a symbol none of them recognized, at least not officially. But the rumors were ancient. A broken circle. A burning feather. And the word, Titan. "Is that human?" someone whispered. Draven stood slowly, eyes wide. "Impossible. Imperial Senate, 2 days prior. They're primitives. Warlike, fragmented, and centuries behind the curve," hissed Lord Jathek of the 7th House. "They only just reached orbital stabilization." "Their files are incomplete," replied Councillor Tverin, her serpentine body coiled around her dais. "No signs of fleet production. Their biggest ship is barely a destroyer by our scale." Emperor Savox watched the bickering with quiet disdain. He raised one long-fingered hand and silence fell. "Earth," he said simply, "is irrelevant. We will annex the Sol system within the next cycle. No resistance expected." And with that, humanity's fate had been written. But no one had known Earth was listening. And hiding. Earth Orbit, Deep Subveil Operations Command. Miles beneath the Pacific Ocean, inside the ancient crust of Earth, a command center buzzed to life. Admiral Liana Vance stood alone inside the control hub of Project Valhalla, Earth's single most classified military project. A CV-1 Helios. A supercarrier unlike anything in known space. Buried in low temporal stasis, shielded by quantum displacement fields, cloaked behind decoys and distortion veils, it had not moved in 37 years. But now, it awoke. Telemetry danced across screens. Target vectors loaded. Imperial fleet signatures parsed and tagged. Earth had seen the Imperial Senate's declaration. It had been translated, studied, filed, and answered. Not with a protest, but with activation. "Status report," Vance commanded. "All systems green. Temporal field collapsed. Core reactor online. AI command integration stable. Weapons locked." She turned to the command AI. A synthetic avatar shimmered beside her, human in shape, luminous in design. "Deploy Helios," she ordered. The AI smiled faintly. "Engagement protocol?" Vance narrowed her eyes. "Surprise. Back over Tarsus 3. Still no heat signature?" Draven asked. "None, sir. It's absorbing all energy. No response to hails. It's just staring." "That's not a ship," another officer whispered. "That's a trap." "Enough." Draven barked. "Prime the mass lances. I want a strike package formed, now." The dreadnought Virex prepared to fire. Twin plasma channels aligned, the hull thrummed with potential. Nearby escort vessels shifted formation. But the moment their targeting systems locked, everything changed. A pulse shot out from the unknown ship. Not explosive. Not EM. Something deeper. A resonance. The kind that skipped across quantum fields. And then, movement. The monolithic shape unfolded. Not physically. Not mechanically. But like dimensions themselves were being rearranged. Panels peeled away, revealing weapon bays with coils of plasma. Launch bays opened and small figures emerged. Interceptors that didn't burn fuel, didn't emit signal, and moved faster than light should allow. "They have drones," someone shouted. No, not drones, Draven muttered. Fighters. Hundreds of them. In tight formations, swarming through the Imperial blockade like hornets with surgical brains. The Virex fired. But the lances missed. No, they curved away. Every shot bent, redirected as though gravity itself conspired against the Empire. Why can't we hit it? Draven roared. Because, said the science officer, voice flat. That thing is generating its own spacetime geometry. We're aiming it where it isn't. The comms flared. A voice crackled in, loud, clear, and unmistakably human. Imperial fleet, you have entered restricted Earth space. You are not authorized. Stand down or be neutralized. Who the hell dares speak for Earth? Draven screamed into the channel. You're a backward mud ball. There was no reply. Only light. The Helios vanished. And reappeared point blank over the Virex's command hull. Sir? Someone screamed. Then came the strike. It wasn't a laser. It wasn't a missile. It was a compression spear, a weapon that collapsed local gravitational constants into a singular vector. The Virex folded in on itself. Decks buckled. Reality blinked. A dreadnought, gone in seconds. Panic swept the rest of the Imperial fleet. Ships tried to scatter. But the Helios moved with them. It didn't chase. It predicted. Before they even calculated escape vectors, the Supercarrier was already there, cutting them off, intercepting with fighters, disabling engines with pinpoint plasma bursts that left no debris. Within 47 seconds, the entire battle group was disabled. 4 ships reduced to vapor. 8 more crippled. 1 boarding underway. Earth didn't just fight. It neutralized. On board the Helios Tactical Deck Gamma. Vance stood over the display watching the results unfold. The Empire's arrogance had made them predictable. And Earth had planned for this decades ago. Behind her an aide spoke. Orders, Admiral? We can broadcast a surrender demand to the remaining Imperial command. Offer a ceasefire. Perhaps even a treaty. Vance shook her head slowly. No. We don't bargain with invaders. She keyed in the next phase. Broadcast a single message to the Empire. 1 line. The aide nodded. What should it say? Vance's expression didn't change. You forgot about Earth. That was your first mistake. Imperial homeworld, 10 days later. The Senate screamed in chaos. Footage from the battle over Tarsus III had leaked. Somehow, despite secure channels, the entire galaxy now knew. A hidden Earth vessel had dismantled one of the strongest Imperial battle groups. In under a minute. With no casualties. And no declarations of war. Just silence and then steel. Worse, planetary scans revealed Earth wasn't primitive. Their public tech was a mask. Underneath? Quantum reactors. Planet-wide sensor webs. Hypersonic rail defense platforms. Orbital camouflage fields. And the Helios was only one of their assets. Fear took root. What else have we missed? Someone whispered. Everything, another answered. And far beyond, in the dark corners of neutral space, other races watched. Watched and remembered. Because Earth had emerged. And everything was about to change. Imperial Senate, Core World Loxer Prime, 48 hours after Tarsus III. The storm in the chamber was unlike any in recorded history. No longer simple politics. This was panic wearing crowns. Hollow displays floated midair showing loops of the Helios appearing over the Virex, its impossible weapon discharging, the dreadnought collapsing into itself like folded cloth in a black wind. Some council members refused to look, muttering prayers in forgotten dialects. Others argued violently over whether the footage was even real. Emperor Savox didn't flinch. Not when his throne chamber fractured with the weight of dozens of delegates arguing at once. Not even when the planetary news feeds began openly broadcasting conspiracy theories that Earth might be a surviving Class 0 civilization, a title reserved for apex species who'd gone silent after reaching post-ascendance. He only moved when General Vrakos stepped forward and saluted with a fist to his chest. Your Excellency, Vrakos growled, voice like a fusion cannon cycling power, I have prepared retaliation directives. With your permission we will strike Earth with a precision burn. Define precision, the Emperor said softly. 3 dreadnoughts. 1 orbital antimatter platform. We sterilize their orbital defense grid, drop kinetic rods on major cities, and cripple their global command infrastructure. And if they resist? Vrakos hesitated. Then we erase the planet. Pause. The air in the chamber grew thinner, colder. Emperor Savox leaned forward. Do it. Imperial Assault Fleet Alpha, staging near Sector Sol. The fleet assembled with haste and secrecy. No broadcast. No declarations. No honor-bound challenge. Just one directive: hit Earth so hard the galaxy forgets it ever rose. Admiral Kale's flagship, Oblivion Lance, led the armada. A ship forged to crack moons and flatten civilizations. Its hull had never known defeat. Around it, 10 support ships, including the Arcfire, Pyrehold, and Razorfold, buzzed with activity. "We will arrive on the edge of the Sol system in 2.3 hours, reported the NAV officer. The wormhole pulses holding. Kale stared at the system's still quiet data point on the star map. So quiet. Too quiet. "We go in dark," he said. "No signals. No fleet formation. We make Earth feel like the hammer of God struck them before they blink. Earth Defense Net, Deep Black Command Node / Silent Eyes." Lieutenant Commander Mara King leaned over her tactical interface as it pinged soft and fast. "Multiple gravitational tremors incoming," she said, barely above a whisper. "They're threading a ghost corridor. No visible subspace noise, but they're coming." Admiral Vance's face appeared over a secure feed. "How many?" 11 capital ships. 5 appear to be antimatter payload capable. 1 has planetary sterilization tools. Vance didn't blink. "Engagement rules?" Mara looked up from her chair. "You want standard orbital defense or?" Vance interrupted. "Protocol Helios Red. Authorize full planetary response." "Understood." Across Earth's black site bunkers, orbital relays, and dormant bastions, red lights pulsed. Protocol Helios Red wasn't just a response. It was a declaration. Earth had already surprised the galaxy with the Helios. Now it would show them something worse. That it was never alone. Above Earth, near orbit, as the Imperial fleet emerges, a shimmering distortion rippled as the wormhole corridor collapsed, and the Oblivion Lance punched through. Admiral Kale grinned. "Earth in sight. No defenses active." As the rest of the fleet followed, something shifted. Their forward scans changed. What had been the blue and green planet Earth just seconds before now appeared underlaid with energy latticework. Towers previously invisible lit up across the surface. Stratospheric armor plating deployed silently across low orbit. Dozens of orbital defense pylons revealed themselves, previously phase-shifted, undetectable until now. And then, they saw it. Another ship. Not the Helios. This was larger. Flat, wide like a seaborne aircraft carrier, but impossibly armored. Entire cities built into its flanks. Its name emblazoned in old Terran script, now lighting up like a warning flare. "CV2, Hyperion." "There's another one?" Kale muttered. The Hyperion didn't speak. Didn't transmit. It simply opened. Hatches across its body unleashed waves of tactical subvessels, exosuits, combat drones, and kinetic rail interceptors. Orbital artillery unfolded into the shape of a giant trident pointed at the stars. And then Earth fired first. 10 minutes of hell, now known as the Sol Firestorm. The Imperials weren't caught unprepared. They were the Empire's elite. They responded with force, discipline, and coordination. But none of it mattered. Every weapon they launched was predicted before ignition. Every escape maneuver met by plasma arcs that bent after targets. The Hyperion didn't fight like a ship. It fought like it knew how they thought. Like it had read their playbook, and written a better one. In 7 minutes, 3 ships were crippled. By the 10th, 4 had been completely annihilated. 1 was folded inward by a graviton surge. Another imploded via tachyon inversion. A third had its own shield matrix redirected into the ship's interior. And the Oblivion Lance? Admiral Kale screamed as its main reactor exploded outward like a sun blooming in reverse. He never saw what killed him. Imperial Senate, emergency address. The chamber was quiet. Again. Only this time not from denial, but from fear. The footage from Sol had broadcast itself. Not by Earth's doing but by their ships. As if Earth wanted the galaxy to watch. One by one, the lights in the Imperial Senate dimmed. Then a message appeared. Not a human face. Not a declaration. Just a phrase. "You sent 11 ships. Earth sent 2. We have more." Then a brief flicker of schematics. Ship silhouettes. 6 more supercarriers. Undisclosed. Unseen. Until now. Deep space, neutral zone, far from Earth or the Empire. Other civilizations had watched. The Filari Ascendancy. The Dominion of Rex. The silent orbiting eyes of the Makari. They saw it all. The speed. The technology. The intent. Earth was not a rising power. Earth had always been prepared. And now the galaxy knew it. On Earth, Deep Vault Omega. Admiral Vance watched the final signal transmission. Her aide turned to her. What now? Do we wait for them to retaliate again? Vance shook her head. They won't. Why not? Because they've seen the cost. The aide nodded slowly, then whispered, Do we keep going? Let the other ships rise? Vance paused, then said, We'll wait. And behind them, in cold titanium cradles beneath the Earth's crust, SCI-FI, Odyssey and SCI-FI, Thanatos stirred. Waiting. Watching. Knowing. Because Earth didn't go looking for war. But it had prepared for every possible version of one. 10 standard days after the Sol firestorm. Council of 12 Worlds, Emergency Convocation, Timbrax Prime. The chamber walls shimmered with static interference as envoys from the 12 largest non-imperial civilizations argued over one simple question. What do we do about Earth? They crippled an imperial assault fleet in minutes, snapped charred wrecks of the Graal coalition. They possess weapons we can't even scan. They've held back for decades. Who knows what else is buried under their oceans or hidden in their moons? That's exactly why we must open communication, countered High Warden Trell. Earth doesn't act like an empire. They don't invade. They react. We crossed a line. The Imperials crossed several. Earth's message wasn't a threat. It was restraint. Restraint. That was the word echoing in the minds of every starborn species. Earth had sent 2 supercarriers. And they had 6 more. Possibly more than that. The known supercarrier classes, Helios and Hyperion, were not just military platforms. They were mobile nations. Moving fortresses with onboard cities, adaptive AI intelligence, and defenses that warped reality. And worse? Every major power now realized a terrible truth. Earth had made them all underestimated. Because Earth didn't boast, didn't flex, didn't warn. It simply waited. And when attacked, it ended wars before the second shot. Far from the debate, Dominion of Vrex Science Station 97B. Dr. Hallen Yez and his assistant Zoran peered into the projection cylinder as ancient radio bursts lit up a reconstructed stellar map. Their current obsession was a strange pulse wave recorded 2 years ago. Subspace chatter over the Helios project, before it was ever publicly revealed. We've been focusing too much on Sol, Hallen said. Earth is the center, but this signal didn't come from there. Zoran adjusted the filters. Triangulating, one moment. A new star sector lit up, dead space. Unclaimed. Uninhabitable. Supposedly. Except now in that region, there were patterns. Tachyon trails. Gravity lensing. Signals piggybacking on light delay. Someone's there, Zoran whispered. Or something, Hallen corrected. And if Earth didn't send that signal, someone else might have built them. Or worse, they were still listening. On Earth, Helios Command Core, 142 kilometers above surface. Admiral Vance leaned against the observation panel of the Helios, watching the stars shift. Her command staff spoke quietly behind her. Briefings, new sensor pings, diplomatic chatter. The galaxy was humming again. But not with confidence. With worry. Earth had become the uninvited apex predator in a party of smug scavengers. No one dared provoke them again. Not yet. And that was dangerous. Complacency, she knew, was how wars always started again. The Hyperion had returned to orbit. The Helios was back in its holding corridor. SCV-3 and SCV-4 remained dark, for now. A comms officer cleared his throat. Ma'am. We've intercepted multiple encrypted discussions. Non-aligned powers are holding emergency summits. 2 factions are already proposing preemptive strikes on Earth. Vance turned. Who? Vrex Syndicate and the Makari Confederation. They're scared. They should be, she said. But fear makes people stupid. Meanwhile, Makari Confederation high orbit. The Makari were ancient, proud, coldly logical. But even their high matriarch, Sarvier, had shivered slightly watching the destruction of the Oblivion Lance. The fact that a single Earth supercarrier had disrupted decades of Imperial planning was disturbing. The fact that Earth had done it without retaliation was worse. No demands, no occupation, no territory claim, she muttered, watching the final loop of Hyperion deploying kinetic spears from space to slice an Imperial battleship in half. They don't want our planets. They don't even want to be known. Her military advisors pressed for action. A preemptive alliance. Contain Earth. Cripple their production sites. Hit their moon bases, destroy the known weapons satellites, unleash virus bombs. It would be fast, merciless, and doomed. Sarvier closed the projection. She sent a single message. We will not participate. Earth is not a threat. It is the balance the galaxy forgot. Somewhere in deep neutral space, independent broadcast array. A rogue transmission flared across the entire galactic net. Anonymous, encrypted, but not stoppable. Read. You feared the Imperials. You mocked the humans. Now one is dead, and the other has awakened. Choose wisely which monster you provoke. Billions read it. Hundreds of governments archived it. One government, Earth's, smiled slightly at it. Earth, Deep Black Archives Facility Elysium. An ancient voice echoed through the vaults. One not heard in over a century. A preserved AI construct from the Mars Independence Wars. Designation, Athena. Awakening sequence triggered by the Global Threat Index surpassing Threshold 3. The AI's first words. They still don't understand. The Helios and Hyperion were not built for war. They were built for containment. And Earth was never the apex. We were the jailers. A nearby technician turned pale. What are we containing? Athena turned slowly, her avatar flickering with ancient static and godlike calm. The thing we buried in the stars. The one that taught us how to be monsters. Galaxy-wide intelligence leak, day 17 after Sol engagement. It started as whispers. Then a hack. Then full confirmation. A superintelligence born in the shadows of pre-warp Earth. Long before they spoke to the stars. A system of defense built to destroy any species capable of existential threat, including Earth itself should it fall. Codename, the Leviathan Protocol. Decommissioned. Lost. But now possibly active again. And the Helios? The Hyperion? Those were merely watchdogs. The real beast had never been seen. Yet. On board the Helios, final scene. Admiral Vance stared at a message recently received from the Blacknet. Unknown origin. No signal source. Just 6 words. One more is waking up, Liana? She swallowed. Because no one had used her first name in a military context in 30 years. Except one man. And he had disappeared before the construction of the Helios was even complete. A genius. A monster. A ghost. The architect of Earth's secret defense strategy. Dr. Orion Vale. And if he was alive, then nothing was off the table. Location, Outer Rim Black Zone, SCI-FI, Leviathan. Status, dormant, until now. Somewhere beyond the mapped sectors, outside even the most fringed star lanes, a shape stirred in the void. It was larger than the Helios. Larger than Hyperion. Its hull was composed of layered obsidian plating interlaced with flickering gold veins that pulsed to a rhythm not synced with any clock, because it set the time around it. SCI-FI, Leviathan. It hadn't launched in over 200 years. It wasn't part of Earth's offensive command. It had no diplomatic corps. No AI interface to speak to outsiders. It wasn't designed to fly in formation or follow war orders. Leviathan was the key turned only when the galaxy was broken. And now, it was waking up. Earth, Helios command bridge. Alarms flashed in red across the floor. Admiral Vance's eyes locked on the code streaming down the central screen. Authorization, Orion Vale. Security clearance, Void Prime. Protocol code, Exodus Strike, Stage 1. Jesus, she muttered. He actually lit it. The bridge crew stared. He's alive. Captain Race asked, voice uneven. He's been off-grid for decades. He disappeared before even the Helios launched. Orion Vale never disappeared, Vance said. He evaporated. Only person to beat every Earth system designed to find him. And now he sends this. But what is Exodus? Someone asked. Vance didn't answer right away. She just said, it's not what we send to fight the galaxy. It's what we send to survive it. The Empire, collapsing. Back in the Imperial core worlds, everything was fracturing. Their greatest dreadnoughts gone. The War Council dead. Entire supply chains cut by Earth's quantum disruption web. More than that, the citizens had seen the truth. The Empire lied. About Earth. About their tech. About the balance of power. Rebellions flared across 5 sectors. Local governors pulled out of joint command. Some even offered Earth tribute. One rebel fleet activated a hyperwave beacon and sent a simple offer. We surrender. Spare our people. Let us learn. The message reached Earth. Earth said nothing. No confirmation. No denial. No diplomacy. Because something bigger was moving. The strike plan, coalition of the desperate. In a hidden system, far from Earth or the Empire, 5 civilizations met in utter secrecy. The Vrex Syndicate. The Makari Confederation. The Red Nebula Accord. the Shirul Compact, and the broken remnants of the Empire's intelligence core. They didn't come to parley. They came to kill a god. "We've built a fusion spear," said Agent Harkle of the former Empire. "It's not a bomb. It's a reality phase disruptor. Fires one shot. We sacrificed the core of a dead star to do it. But it can kill anything. Even one of those supercarriers." "Even the Leviathan?" asked Avrek's admiral. "Especially that," Harkle lied. "They sent their fleet under veil. Slipped through gravity shadows. Used stolen Terran signal mimics. Every trick from every corner of the galaxy. They reached the Leviathan. The spear armed. The moment locked. They died. Every single ship. Not because the Leviathan fired, but because it looked at them. And their ships forgot how to be real." Helios observation deck hours later. "They tried to assassinate the Leviathan," Vance said quietly. Captain Race stared at the footage, dozens of ships torn apart by nothing. No weapons, no shields, just unmade. "It didn't even react fully," Vance muttered. "That wasn't Leviathan fighting. That was it breathing." Race's throat tightened. "Why did Orion Vale activate it?" Vance pulled up a message. From Vale himself. "Liana. It started. The thing we buried on the edge of time, it's stirring. The galaxy doesn't know it, but it called to us first. Leviathan wasn't built to win a war. It was built to make sure no one else survives it. Watch the stars. They begin to dim. Run." Elsewhere, unclaimed space near galactic core. An ancient structure flickered into focus. Massive. Dead for eons. Or so they thought. Once known only as a myth, the architect seed. Precursor tech. Reality anchors. Supposedly used by the species who taught humans the first laws of gravity manipulation. Now, lights inside it flickered again. Because Earth's activation of Leviathan had triggered something older. Older than Earth. Older than war. Older than fear. Earth's final broadcast, one message to the galaxy. No ships. No ambassadors. No warning. Just a quiet transmission in the deep night bands of interstellar comms. "This is Earth. We asked for silence. You answered with threats. We showed mercy. You answered with sabotage. So now there is no answer. There is only memory. And Leviathan will remember everything." Across thousands of systems, millions of people fell silent. Leaders wept. Fleets recalled. No one attacked Earth again. Ever. Because some truths rewrite how civilizations think. And Earth's final truth wasn't the Helios. Or the Hyperion. It was that their true weapon was never a warship. Their true weapon was Orion Vale. And the terrible knowledge that he was just one man. Aboard the Leviathan, final scene. In the black belly of the Colossus, a lone figure stood before an endless wall of lights. Orion Vale. Alive. Older. Fierce. He looked into the stars through a viewport bigger than a city. He whispered, "They thought we built a ship. But I built a mirror. And now the galaxy will see itself." Behind him, engines hummed to life. Destination, the architect seed. Leviathan didn't just rise. It was returning. And the stars, those arrogant stars, would never shine the same again. Studio microphone, the end. Satellite antenna. This was an original sci-fi HFY story brought to you by the Void Narratives. Rocket if you love deep, powerful human-centered stories where humanity doesn't just fight, but changes the rules of reality, then you're in the right place. Flying Saucer, hit subscribe so you never miss what comes next. Because Earth has more stories to tell. And the stars are finally listening. Subscribe now. Stay human. Stay unpredictable. The Void Narratives.